top clubs have been splashing the cash, so much so that the government has now set a cap on how much clubs can spend on players and their salaries. Earlier this week, Shanghai SIPG signed the Brazilian Oscar for $75 million from the English club Chelsea. Last month, the Argentinian Carlos Tevez became the highest paid player in the world after he signed for Shanghai Shenhua for around $760,000 a week. Well, those signings are likely to be a thing of the past after China's sports authority told clubs to invest more in local youth football rather than expensive players, foreign players. Well, for more on this, Kieran Maguire joins us live. He's a football finance specialist at the University of Liverpool. Kieran, thank you very much for joining us on My Talk. Just want to talk about the leadership here in China. The President Xi Jinping is a huge fan of football. Are you surprised that the government wants to bring in these caps?
It does seem a little bit strange because initially the Chinese government were very keen for China to become a major player in the world game. President Xi wants to host the World Cup, and to do that I think China needs to move up the FIFA rankings. It's currently ranked just above the Faroe Islands, which doesn't really give it a lot of credibility. So therefore there's this contrast between the government saying one thing in terms of developing the game and making it popular as a global sport, and the other in terms of restraining expenditure.
Well, it's very interesting that a country of well over 1 billion people is just above the Faroe Islands. What do you put that down to?
Well, China traditionally has been it's been a country where sport has tended to be individual in nature, and also they're very keen on sports such as basketball and table tennis. Football hasn't been seen amongst parents as a decent career for their offspring. And in a country where you're restricted to one child, there's a lot of parental pressure for children to carry on in terms of their education. And many parents feel that by going into football, their children would be going into something which isn't going to generate income for the family.
But do you think it will move towards the European model where people see just how much huge fortunes that the footballers are making playing football, and that'll push people to put their kids into football?
I think in the medium term it will, especially if there seemed to be government encouragement of this. President Xi has said that they want to invest in huge numbers of pitches and also improve the coaching. Now, one way of doing that is to bring in superstars from elsewhere in the world, and that will allow Chinese clubs to increase their credibility. If you do that, then all of a sudden then the children and the parents both become interested in the game, and as a consequence I think that the game will take off to a greater extent.
Kieran Maguire, thank you very much for joining us on Money Talks.